going to get around to it, but do we ever get around to it? No. And that opportunity does what? It passes us by. How many of you who know about Steve Jobs and Apple would gladly go back and give that fella $3 grand for 10% of the company? You'd only be worth $50 billion today. No big deal, right? That's called a double oops. Okay? Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Fast forward again. It's 1983. You meet a guy named Bill Gates. Yeah. And he says, hey, remember those computers? You're like, yeah, let me tell you about that, right? I screwed that one up big time. He says, I have an opportunity for you to redeem yourself, right? They all need software to run on. I'm going to create a program called MS-DOS, and eventually that's going to become Windows. And for the next 30 years, I'm going to be the richest man in the United States. And I need people like now. I need secretaries, janitors. I need people to cut the grass. Listen, I know you're an engineer. I know that's not what your degree's in, but I need you to show up tomorrow to Microsoft. I'm going to match your salary, and I'm going to pay you $50,000 a year in stock options. If we keep growing like we're growing, we could both get pretty wealthy here, but I need you here tomorrow. Right? And guess what? Everybody he said that to said back to him, Bill, that sounds incredible. I could be looking for something like this. I hate my job anyways. This might just be what I've been looking for, right? And guess what they say? But can I just have a day to go home in? Yeah. And guess what happens when you get home? Little Timmy. And life happens. And do we tell Bill no? We just let it pass. I'm doing okay. There'll be a next time. I saw a show on Dateline a couple of years ago where they were profiling the lives of janitors and secretaries from Microsoft, right? They were there in the early days. Minimum net worth was like $8.8 million. They were showing their homes on the Intercoastal and Fort Lauderdale and all that. Secretaries and janitors in the right place at the right time with the right opportunity. And most people did what with it? Let it pass. And here you are on a Friday night in June in Salt Lake City. And they're talking to you about an opportunity to help people be more responsible with the money they have. More correctly, the money they don't really have. Because they have not learned these things yet. And they're up at night praying for something to change in their life financially, to get a break, right? And you're talking to people about making more money, an opportunity to change their lives, right? And those are not a dime a dozen out there today. And what do people need in Salt Lake City, Brendan? They need what? They need to do better with the money they have and make that dollar stretch further than it's ever gone before, because that's the stats. It's just numbers. That's the truth, right? We're all having to live, right, with more going out than is coming in, and our pay is not growing at the rate that it should be, right? And we have to do that. And therefore, they need to make more money. And that's the opportunity they're talking to you about tonight. And for $99 that you get back, right? Did they give it back to you here in Salt Lake City? What do you have to do? You go to class? So all you have to do is show up. You don't even need to pass. You just show up to the class and go on 2 trainings with the person that brought you here, and it was free. So for free, you have an opportunity to do a couple of things. Number one is what? Get a bunch of new skills. How many of you who know about money and finance think it would be better to know more about money and finance than less about money and finance? Right? We're going to work with this stuff every day of the rest of our lives, right? Doesn't it make sense to know more about it? You get a world-class education in it, right? Secondly, you get tax deductions on things you do now, like eat food, right? Drive a car, right? Things you're doing already, right? When you're a W-2 employee, you don't get to write any of that off, right? How many of you that pay taxes think it would be good to pay less taxes versus more taxes? Okay, they're catching on now. This is good. They're coming away. And the third thing that you get is you get a spare tire. Right? 90 days from now, you come in, you go through this process they've shown you tonight, and you realize, guess what? I don't like helping people or making money. That's okay. Right? For whatever reason that's your deal, you don't want to do anymore, that's okay. Right? But you have a spare tire. How many of you, by a show of hands, have a spare tire in your car? In Detroit, we need them. Because you make potholes and they steal them right off your car, okay? How many of you who who are brand new, this is your first time here tonight, how many of you have a spare tire for your income in case it goes away or gets downsized or they cut it back through no fault of your own, right? Here's what I see in Detroit all the time. My office is literally right across the street from Chrysler World Headquarters. You can look out my window and see the big Pentas, whatever it's called, Pentastar. It's not the pentagram because that's like this devil sign, right? It's close. It's close, right? And you should Google the building. It's really an interesting looking building. And we see these poor fellas who got sold that bill of goods, right? 30 years will take care of you forever. And we watch them 25 years in get a pink slip. All their benefits gone, all their retirement done. And we watch these guys the next day, right? They put on their best suit and they get out this piece of paper with everything they've ever done in their life on it. It's called a what?
A resume.
Resume. And they start going around handing them things out to anybody that will take one. Would you please look at this? I have kids at home. I've got a mortgage that I have to pay. I've got school tuition that needs to get paid tomorrow. Would you look at this? Would somebody give me a job, right? And they're out there, and guess where that resume goes, guys? On a pile of 1,000 other people that's the best idea they could come up with, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting a different result. I just lost my job making ABC widget at XYZ company. So now I'm going to go try to get the same job I had making ABC widget at this company and hope that that doesn't happen again. You read the stats on jobs recently. The average American changes jobs every 4.3 years. Right? A lifetime career is a thing of the past. Right? The economy doesn't work that way. Or that fella a couple of years previous came to one of these meetings, got an education, learned some new skills, and got a state-issued license. And he gets that pink slip, and 10 minutes later he pulls out his phone and calls Cousin Tim and says, "Cousin Tim, you got to see what I'm doing." He goes over to Cousin Tim's house tonight, teaches Cousin Tim the stuff that they showed you, and changes that whole family's life financially. Right? Out of debt, saving money for the future, hopeful, financial, right? And what does he do for his family? He generates an income. And whose permission did he have to ask to do that? Nobody's. He didn't have to go beg for a job, hope somebody would offer him something. He took his life into his own hands. Isn't that what this country is about? Isn't that who started this deal? A bunch of people who just wanted an opportunity, right? This is the land of opportunity, not the land of jobs, right? They didn't sail over here, half of them dying for 4-month trips for a job at GM. They wanted to be somebody they were proud of. They wanted to do something special with their life, and they wanted to be somebody, right? And here you have an opportunity to do that. I hope and pray you guys make the right choice to get started. Listen, I don't make a nickel from anybody in this room. I wish I did. We'll talk about maybe you give me some networks, right? Okay? But I don't, listen, if you join, doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. But I hope and pray that you do because it will change your life forever. Maybe you just learn some of this and learn how to do it better for yourself. Wouldn't that be worth it? Yep. You have $1 million saved at retirement. You don't have the financials. Wouldn't that, if that's all you got out of this was to learn how to do this for yourself, wouldn't it be worth it? Right? Okay, but here's what I don't know I'd be okay with. Because a lot of you guys tonight are going to say, "Man, that sounded great. That sounded awesome. I've been looking for something. I hate my job anyways. This could be what I've been looking for, but I need a day or two to go home in." And what's going to happen when you leave here tonight? Life is going to happen. You're not saying no. It's just going to pass you by. And 30 years from now, listen, 30 years from now, you will look back on this night, and you will, with too much debt, not enough saved, and worried that 2 college kids are going to come in and take your place for half of what you're making. And you will look back on this night, and you will wonder, I wonder what would have happened had I just tried. I tried it, it wasn't for me, it wasn't what they told me it was, I didn't like it, whatever. I can get over that, right? I can get over that and been there, done that, wasn't for me. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is not having things turn out, and look, you ain't gonna beat those stats. Those numbers are the numbers. 95% of people in the most prosperous country on the planet retiring broke. I don't want you to look back and wonder what could have been. Right? I want you to look back and wonder what could have been. Thank God I made the right decision to give it a try and see what happened. I hope you guys make the right decision. I hope you choose to get involved. And maybe, just maybe, you'll end up like one of us. Maybe it will change everything for you. Maybe it'll change something for you. But it will change something for you for the better. God bless you guys. Thanks so much. I can't wait to see you all tomorrow.